FPL is back and change is coming. Yes, that's right. We now know from official FPL that there are tweaks to the game this season, which is very exciting because it's been a long time coming, some might say. It's been years since we've seen changes to the game. We last saw the addition of the free hit chip like 6-7 years ago. Well, we now know there are changes to the game this year. So let's discuss what some of those changes might be. Guys, if you fancy hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel, that would be amazing. So what do we know so far? Well, we know that there's price reveals to come. We always get price reveals, but we know there'll be some new features on the way. Yeah, we'll get position changes. We always do, but maybe there's more to it than just moving Havertz from midfielder to forward. But there'll be exciting new features that will change your strategies. This is the bit that gets me, and it will make a season like no other. All will be revealed very soon. This is very exciting. So what might those changes be? Well, let's consider some of them. But before we do, let's just appreciate we've had the Euros game in the last few weeks. We're playing the Euros game, and many FPL managers playing both and like what they see from the Euros game. The addition of ball recoveries, the addition of player of the match, some like switching the armband. But don't for 1 minute think that official FPL have seen Euros fantasy and gone, oh, we need to jump through hoops. We need to change things because of them. Official FPL is the bigger game. There's 11 million plus managers. I think there's 2-3 million that play the Euros game. And any changes that they've made this season would have been rolled out and set in stone and surveyed and focus grouped weeks, months before. They've probably been discussed for the last 6 to 12 months, to be frank. So I don't think they're seeing the Euros game and going, we need to change things. And with that, I don't think we're going to see copy and paste rules from the Euros game to manage expectations for those, for example, that love the ball recoveries idea. So let's discuss what some of these changes could be. Well, I put a tweet out earlier just asking for suggestions. What might you change? And we got some really, really good responses. Let's just address ball recoveries because it does feel like everyone's talking about it. If you haven't played the Euros game, we are seeing an additional point added for any player on the pitch that clocks 3 ball recoveries. Now, in some games, we're seeing players clock 12, 16 ball recoveries. And with that, they're clocking big points, an additional 4 or 5 points. Players like Rodri, it feels like their ceiling in a game is 2 appearance points and 3 ball recovery points. It feels like Rodri's 5 is on an assist when actually he's just done what he always does. Defensive midfielders like Rodri and centre-backs, like Gahey, Laporte, have been really good at clocking up ball recoveries. Personally, I don't love it. I don't think player prices and the ceiling of ball recoveries has been taken into account. And actually, we're seeing a game where defensive players are outscoring attacking players. And I don't really love that. I do like the idea of rewarding players that are more defensive minded, whether they're DMs or centre backs, but maybe not quite 1 point for every 3 recoveries. Maybe it's just something like tackles or just interceptions or just blocks or combination of them, but you need to clock 5 or 6 to get a point. Do I think we'll see it introduced? No, I don't. Let me know in the comments below if it's something you think that should be introduced. I'm going to run through, by the way, at the end of this show, what I think will change and what I would like to see changed. Binning the bench boost chip. What do we think to that? Well, yeah, I mean, I think if a new chip comes in, either it will be an additional chip, in which case the remaining 3 chips are there and they stay. Or if one is replaced, I do think it will probably be bench boost that goes. People love the free hit. People love triple captaincy. Bench boost always feels a little bit meh. And remember, next season we'll see fewer double game weeks because there's less fewer FA Cup games. Clean sheet points for each half, says Sega Sahu. We see this in Serie A fantasy, which is a game I play and really like. Don't know if I love that part of the game, though. Clean sheet points first each half. Don't love that. So if a team wins or only, say a team loses 1-0, they concede in the second half, they'll still clock some clean sheet points for the first half performance. Nah, not for me. Rory McGarry says, points for player or man of the match. Well, we have the bonus point system, which is built on 32 metrics, which is way better than one person saying that's man of the match or player of the match, which is what we've seen in the Euros. I much prefer the 32 metric bonus point system, which I absolutely love to the game. A lot of people have an issue with the bonus point system and go, oh, he was given Sky Sports player of the match. Why didn't he get 3 bonus points? Well, because the stats probably don't lie. And we all know them and it's transparent. Prandeep says, manually adding subs or auto-subbing. So those that get most points, whether they're on your bench or not, they automatically come into your team. Do we like that? That's just taking a decision out of it. Again, you're probably going, Gianni is poo-pooing all these ideas. Look, I don't dislike them. I just prefer not having them. And I look at FPL and often think, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I do have some suggestions, which we're going to get to in a minute. But manually putting players in that got the most points, no, that's giving us less to do. I want to be a manager that's busy. I want to be a manager that has to make decisions. And I can make decisions by going, no, that player should be benched over that player, and not just have him auto subbed in because he got more points. Compete overhaul, to be honest, says Tobias. Doesn't like it. The game is prehistoric in almost every way. Well, Tobias, maybe don't play it if you're not enjoying it. I disagree with that. I do think there needs to be some tweaks to keep it fresh, but I wouldn't have a complete overhaul. There's a reason why FPL by the Premier League is the most popular game out there. People enjoy it. Barry says Limitless is a great chip. I would agree. In fact, given the choice of free hit or Limitless, because it's the same thing, one just has unlimited budget, I actually think Limitless is a bit more fun. Give us the free hit chip with unlimited budget. Yeah, I like that. I like that suggestion. Let's move on, shall we, to a few more suggestions and then get to mine. So what about vice captaincy getting 1.5 points? We've seen this in other Euros games. Seen this in other fantasy games. Excuse me, from Pemberton. I like it. I've always enjoyed that. And I do sometimes feel like with captaincy, it can make or break your week. If your vice captain gets 1.5 points, then it's you don't have that X or Y decision. You still have a big decision to go, who do I give the vice captaincy to? But it takes the pressure off captaincy a little bit. And personally, I don't love the idea of I can have a rubbish week, but my captain bangs and I have a green arrow, or vice versa. I have a good week everywhere else, but my captain blanks, everyone else captain wins, and I probably get a red arrow. Sometimes I think 2 double points for captain is a bit much, and that would be softened by 1.5 for the vice. Tommy says ball recoveries, maybe successful crosses, something like this. Successful crosses is part of the bonus point system. I think that's already covered. And ball recoveries, yeah. I think in general, most like it. I just think UEFA, the Euros game, has been a bit too lavish, dishing out a few too many points for ball recoveries. Like, I don't really want to be captain in centre backs, or Rodri or Kante, but at times it's made sense to. Sam says, what about rolling up to 4 free transfers? How do we feel about that? Well, at the moment, you can roll up to a max of 2. Again, something from Serie A Fantasy, which I play, is you can roll up to 4. Again, I like that. And I think that encourages perhaps more less engaged managers to go, oh, I've been on holiday or I've forgotten to do my team for a couple of weeks. But actually, no, it's fine. Yes, I've lost out in a few points, but I've got 3 or 4 free transfers. Not a bad idea. Rami says limit captaincy picks per player. This is really interesting. I can only captain Haaland 5 times. I can only captain Salah 5 times. Hadn't thought of that one myself, Rami. That could be fun. Personally, it's a little complex for... I don't think FPL go there. I don't think FPL, but I like it. Guys, drop your comment, by the way, with suggestions that you have. And thank you for all liking and subscribing to the channel. This is my first FPL video of the season, and I've got so much more planned as soon as the game drops, guys. I'm also going to have a template draft out for you in the coming days as well. Elon says manual subs. Yeah, we've discussed that, and captain changes would be unnecessary. Yeah, like again, captaincy changes Euros game during the match day. You can change your captain every day. So in FPL, that would only often be a Saturday, Sunday. But if there was a Monday game or a Friday game, you'd have 3 or 4 switches of the armband. I think that's asking managers to be a little too engaged over a 38-game week season. And a lot of these rules for the Euros game work in a 3 or 4 week season. You can be really engaged just for those 3-4 weeks. But over 38 weeks, like you're talking 9 months of the year, I feel like that's a little bit asking a little bit too much every day to be changed. I don't think that's good for our FPL addictions, or mine anyway. So that's really interesting there from Elon. Doesn't think we should add those. So what about me? What changes do I like? Well, look, from someone that works for the Premier League doing the official or the fantasy show, and I have done for the last 6-7 years, of course I've got opinions, but there's not much I would change. I genuinely think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But of course, I've got ideas, and I have, of times, voiced my opinion to the guys at the Premier League. So let's have a look what I might change. And then we'll just talk how likely it will be perhaps to see any of these changes coming. So let's have a look, shall we? I personally, and I tweeted this earlier, I'd make 3 very small changes. Firstly, a new chip, because I do think all-out attack was rubbish and free hit came in, but that was like 6-7 years ago. So a new chip would be fun. I'm not precious over what that chip is. Limitless has been fun. Or keep the current chips, but give him to us twice. Just like they added a second wild card, right? We now get 2 wild cards. How about we get all 3 chips in the first half of the season and then all 3 chips in the second half of the season? That allows us to go triple captain or bench boost on single game weeks, because at the moment we accrue them all and everyone plays their chips on the same double game weeks and it becomes way too templatey. Well, again, this gives us a decision to make. I'm going to use my triple captain when Haaland plays at home to Ipswich in game week 4, whenever, right? That could be fun. A max of 2 players per team isn't one I've really thought long and hard about, but it's one that I played in Serie A fantasy. That's their rule. And I love it. Whether or not it works for the Premier League, well, it should do. It's a similar game, same principle. It just allows you, again, it discourages a template. Let's use last season, for example, Arsenal. Arsenal, at times, we wanted triple up. We had Gabriel and Saka, and many went double Arsenal defence, or many jumped on Havertz or Odegaard or Martinelli. You're given a big decision. Do you go Raya and Gabriel, or Gabriel and Ben White with Saka? Or do you go, no, they're scoring loads of goals. They're only going to go 1 defender and double attack. You can only have 2. I really like that. So do you go double defence, 1 of each, or double attack? I like that. It also means you're picking more players from other teams, like your mid-table teams, like teams like Bournemouth, like West Ham, like Fulham, like Palace. At times, they've got really good assets, but we can't get to one because we've all got triple City, triple Arsenal, and triple Liverpool. And it's like, oh, okay. So 2 players per team would, again, break a template and make it more fun. It'd also improve our scouting, because at the moment, end of last season, I matched it out. I'd be like, Bournemouth are playing Wolves. I'm not going to watch it on match today. Fast forward, because I've got no FPL interest and it was 0-0 anyway. I want to watch every game. I want to have eyes on every game and an interest in every game. Max of 2 players per team allows that. And then points for winning a penalty. Now, some will say you already get points for winning a penalty. Yeah, you do if it's scored. But if the penalty is missed, there's been no reward for doing something that's really good in football, and that is winning your team a penalty. Now, of course, you can win your team a big chance and the striker can miss a big chance and you don't get assist points for that. But I feel like points for winning a penalty is a little bit further on than that. And I feel like, yes, don't give them the +3 of an assist, but maybe a +1 or a +2. Again, the Euros game gave +2 instead of +3 for an assist. Points for winning a penalty. Likewise, if the same player steps up to take the penalty that won the penalty, they can score points for both. I like that too. Interesting. So there are 3 very small tweaks. Do I think we'll see them all? No. I think a chip is likely, to be honest. I think the other element that perhaps could be likely, I don't know, isn't one of my other 2 ideas. 2 per team won't happen, I don't think. And points for winning a penalty, I'm not sure happens maybe. The other item I think could happen that I've not listed here is I wonder if they have something for more defensive players. And I don't think this would be the ball recoveries, which again is a bit loose by UEFA. We're still not 100% sure what is a recovery. It's a combination of a lot of things, the blocks, the tackles, the interceptions. But I wonder if defensive midfielders and defenders are awarded in some way with an extra point somewhere. Of course, the bonus point system looks after them, but not really if it's a high-scoring game. You often just go bonus points to the attackers. So I wonder if there's a slight tweak coming there. That would be my only other thing. I think chip and I think maybe something for the defensive players would be the 2 I would guess at. But we're going to know very, very soon. So let's wait and see. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On your way out, please do hit those buttons and stay tuned for loads more content on this show. Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.